Killfeeds are one of the many UI elements most FPS games and not only used to let the user know a player or an entity died. In this tutorial, we'll take a look on how to create a dynamic killfeed system so you can have infinite kill slots that is going to be multiplayer ready and replicated. Before starting, if you want to understand something, let me know down below so I can help you out. As well, if you want to learn more about Unreal Engine 4, both its features and how to recreate mechanics, level design and game development in general, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. As well, special thanks to links over on Patreon for supporting me. And now, without further ado, let's begin the tutorial. First thing that we'll do is to create the actual HUD elements. For this one, we'll create 3 new widget blueprints. One of them is going to be the main HUD, which is going to store all the other widgets as children. You might already have this one created, so there's no need for you to create it again. The second one is going to be the actual kill feed. This will play the role of sizing and place to add dynamic slots. This is also going to be one of the children from the main HUD. And the last one, the kill feed slots. This will contain a rich text such as X killed Y or 789. Definitely no pun intended. Okay, so now that we created each one, let's go on and set them up properly. The first one is going to be the kill feed slot. The first thing we have to do is to go to field screen, then go to custom, and here we need a width of 350 and height 35. Of course, you can play with these values to suit your game the best. Now the second step we have to make sure we do is to go to kill feed slot here at the top, then go to padding, and here at the bottom set a number. I'm going to put here 20, and what this does is going to make sure that there's always going to be a gap in between each kill feed slot. Okay, now we will need to add some elements. The first one is going to be an image, and we need to set the position to be 0 on both and 350 by 35, so the exact size. We can also set a color here. I'm going to go with a gray value. Okay, I think this is good. And then we will need a rich text block. So let me explain if you don't know what a rich text block is. So usually with a text you have only one option to style it. So whatever I do here in the appearance for the color and opacity, this will be applied for each letter and word. So it doesn't matter, you cannot have here the text in red and the block in white. And that's why the rich text block helps us, because we can style each word individually. So let me set this up and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So first, position 0 on both, size again 350 by 35. Okay, and in order to style these, what we'll have to do is to create a new data table. So let's go to text style set, here go to data table. So here third person blueprints here, and let's create a new one. I'm going to name this data table. Okay, save. And now for the pick row structure, here we will need to get rich text style row. Okay, and now let's open it. So in order to have custom rows, what you'll have to do is to go here under row editor and create 2 new by clicking on this plus sign. So 1 and 2. Now let's name these. The first one is going to be normal and the other one is going to be styled. Okay. But now currently they have no font family, no size, have a weird color, so we need to set this up by ourselves as well. So for font family, I'm going to have here Roboto, typeface regular, and size 17. And the color is going to be white. Then for the styled one, once again Roboto, but this time the typeface is going to be bold italic, size is going to be 19, and the color is going to be something red. Okay, let's save. And now these 2 styles are going to be perfectly fine for what we have to do. But currently we need to see how we want to set these styles. So we want our kill feed slot to be dynamic. That means that we want to change the text based on the player's name, based on what weapon he used, and all that. I'm not going to do with the weapons, I'm only going to do with the name. So what we have to do is go to graph and start coding a little bit. We're going to use the event construct here. So what we have to do is to go and get our rich text block. Okay, and in case your rich text block is not a variable, what you have to do is go to designer, then go here, select it and go to is variable and make sure that this is enabled. Then here in graph, what we have to do is to get here a set text. Okay, then get from in text string to text, because we are going to use some strings and append. So let's get here 3 append nodes, and each one should have 3 pins. Okay, now in order to use these styles, what you have to do is to go here, get open angle bracket, type styled, I think that's the name, let me check once again, so yeah, styled, okay, closed angle bracket, then here there should be something, the text that is going to be styled, but let's leave it empty for now. And then in order to let the engine know when we don't want the text to be styled anymore, we just get an angle bracket slash and another one that is going to close it. So we can also delete one of these 3 append nodes and just copy this and paste it, because it's going to be the same. And then for the one in the middle, we will get here normal, and at the end slash with angle bracket, and in the middle I'm going to get killed. So this is going to always be the middle message. Okay, let's append all of these 3 appends in one. Okay, and then plug this in the toText string. And if you don't know what append does, let me explain it for you. So let's say that we have here a string that is going to have the value of A, and then here a string that is going to have the value of B. If I'm going to append both of these, the result from the append is going to be AB, so there's going to be a new string. Okay, so think of it like I have an integer 1 and an integer 2, and if I append those, the result is going to be 12. Okay, and now for these empty pins, we will need to promote these 2 variables. So the first one, the B, is going to be called the name 1, and then the other one is going to be called name 2. Okay, and now let's go on and go here in details and set this to be exposed on spawn and blueprint, no, not blueprint, but instance editable, and for name 1 the same thing. The reason why we want to do that is because if we're going to type here create widget and then get here Killfeed slot, you can see that now these variables are here. So I can set their default values once I create the widget. So that's why we want to have these exposed on spawn and instance editable. Okay, let me delete this. And now we know what we want our text to be. The name of the first player, killed, and the name of the second player. Okay, then after 4 seconds, of course you can play with these values as well, so if you don't want here killed or something else, you can use that, or you can even have an array of strings and randomly choose one. Okay, and then here for the delay as well, you can put whatever value you want, maybe 8 seconds, maybe 2 seconds, whatever, doesn't really matter. And then from completed, we want to remove from parent. So this way, it's not going to get destroyed, but it's not going to be visible anymore. Widgets get destroyed once the garbage is collected. So you do that by typing here garbage, collect garbage, but this is a pretty complicated operation, so you don't want to use this every time you remove from parent. Okay, so now that we have this, we can close it and also close the data table. And now let's go on in our Killfeed widget here, and we also need to set this up. Let's go to fill screen and set custom width once again 350 and height 35. Actually no, this time the height should be 1080, so 1080, and that is because I want this to fill my entire screen when it comes to height, but not when it comes to width. Okay, now what we have to do is to get here a vertical box and set the position to be 0 and 0, and then size to content. So what a vertical box does is to order its elements from top to bottom, and by using size to content, that means that it doesn't matter how big we set here the size, it's always going to be the same size as our Killfeed slot. Okay, let's close this down as well, and then go into the last widget that we have to set up. So here I can get my user created widget and get Killfeed, then set the anchor to the right, set the position to be, actually it doesn't matter, we can set it wherever we want. But the thing is that we have to set the right sizes. So for the Y we need once again 1080, and then for the size on the X we need 350, so the exact size that we set for the other two. Okay, and now I think we are done with our widgets, so I think we can go on and code in our third-person character. The first thing that we need to deal with is how we want to display the HUD to our players, and this is the usual setup: event begin play, and then create widget. The class is going to be the HUD, so make sure that you get the HUD and not something else. Then we can promote the return value to a variable, and I'm just going to call this HUD, and then we need to add this to the viewport. So here add to viewport. Okay, and now this is going to be added to the viewport and everything is fine. Now what we need to deal with is how we want to operate between the server and the clients of the server, how we want to display each kill feed to every player. And here in this tutorial we are going to use the peer-to-peer system, which means that one of the players is going to be the server, which is somewhat of a client itself, but not really, because I cannot display as client to all the other clients the kill feed. I need to be the server to do that. So we'll need to create some custom events and play with the replication there to somehow make a workaround for that. So let's see how we are going to do that. And now for demonstration purposes, what I'm going to do is to create a system that is going to display me the kill feed. That means that whenever I do an action, I want to kill a player, or at least make the game think I'm killing the player. So what I'm going to do here is to get the left mouse button, and I'm going to make a small firing system with a line trace. So line trace by channel. Okay, so line trace by channel, and again I'm going to do the usual setup: the follow camera, get word location, plug it in the start, get forward vector, multiply this with, let's say, 10,000 units. Okay, then let's add these values, so vector plus vector. Okay, and then plug this in the end, and now this is going to set the location and the orientation of our line trace. Draw debug type, I'm going to put it here for persistence so I can see it, and if this hit anything, so if the return value is true, which means that it hit something, we are going to break the out hit result, and we are going to check if the other actor that we hit is another third-person character. That means that we are going to cast to it, so cast to third-person character. If that is true, we are going to have here a custom event, but we don't have it yet. So let's create it, add custom event, and I'm going to call this add Killfeed slot, or even shorter, add slot. That should do it, add slot. And now before starting encoding this custom event, let's select it and go here at details and set up some things. The first thing that we need to do is to compile and create some inputs. Both should be strings. And I'm going to put the first one to be name, so name1, okay, and the other one name2. Then here in graph, for replication, what we'll need to do is to go on and select multicast and reliable. Multicast means that the server is going to call this event for all its clients, even for itself. So basically, if I'm going to be the server, that means that I'm going to call this function, I'm going to display the kill feed to all the other clients. But it is also going to be displayed for me, as I am one of the clients as well. Okay, from the main execution pin, I'm going to get create widget, and the widget is going to be the kill feed slot. The name1 is going to go with its input, and name2 with its input as well. Then we also need to create one more input that is going to be a reference to a third-person character. So I'm going to call this target character, and it's going to be a reference to a third-person character. Okay, and now from target character I'm going to get HUD, which is basically this variable right here that we created earlier, right above here. Then I'm going to get Killfeed. Then I'm going to get vertical box. So it seems that I cannot get it, and I know the reason why. That is because our vertical box is not a variable, and as I said earlier, to make sure that this is a variable, let's select it, then go here at the top and check is variable. Now I should be able to get it, so get vertical box, yes. And now here we will need to add child, okay. And the content is going to be the return value from our Killfeed, create Killfeed slot widget. Okay, let's compile and see that there's a problem. Okay, I think we need to compile our Killfeed. Now compile this as well, and as you can see, it got fixed. And I believe that's everything we need to do for the add slot. But the problem now is that we don't know which client is the server. That means that we don't know here for the multicast, if we are not the server, we cannot have this on multicast because it's not going to work. So what we need to do is to create another custom event. So add custom event. Now I'm going to call this server add slot. And now what we'll do for this is to go to replicates here, and I'm going to have this run on server. And what this means is that a client will call this function, and the function is going to run on the server. And here, once we are going to set up some things, this is going to make a little bit more sense why we want to do this. So let's just set up the things now, and I'm going to re-explain this later. So let's have here some inputs. Once again, name 1 and name 2. And then I believe we want a new target as well. Actually no, not for this one. So 2 strings here for name 1 and name 2. And what we want to do is to get here, get all actors of class. Okay, and here the class is going to be a third person character. And what this node is going to do is that it's going to get all the objects and actors that have this class. So basically, if we are going to be 3 players with this class, we are going to get here the length of 3. So let's get from the array for each loop. Okay, and now we can access each of our players, variables and all that, and we can add to the kill feed. And this part right here can only be done by the server. Only the server can access all the actors of class and have here a for each loop. And that is why here we want to have run on server, because a client can call this and the server is going to execute. And that means that we always know that the server is going to execute this piece of code, which means that this will always work. So there's no problem with that, no need to worry about it. Then from our array element, what we want to do is to get an add slot, the function that we created earlier, and then plug the array element in the target character. Okay, name 1 once again in name 1 and name 2 in name 2. Okay, let's make this a little bit cleaner. So you can create these reroute nodes by double pressing on these lines. Okay, and now I think we are almost done with this. What we have to do is to go here to the cast, to the third person character, and get an add server add slot. Okay, and the name here I'm just going to put name 1 and name 2. Of course, usually you are going to have custom player names for each player. So what you would need to do is to plug in here the name of the character that fired the line trace, and in the name 2 you will need to have the name of the third person character here. So let's compile and play, and let's see if this is working or not. So this is going to be the client and this is going to be the server. So as you can see right there, name 1 killed the name 2. And then for the other one, let's see if this is working or not. So name 1 killed name 2, and on the other one it shows. If I'm now going to shoot, you can see on the client name 1 killed name 2. But there's currently one problem with the starting of our Killfeed slot, so let's fix that as well. Let's go to the rich text block and set that justification to be in the middle. So this is always going to be here in the middle somewhere. So let's check this real quick. So as you can see now that it's going to be centered. And then here in the graph, here at killed, let's add a space before and after killed. Now let's compile, let's play once again, and let's check. So now it is styled properly. We can do this as many times as we want, and they are going to dynamically disappear and appear. There's also that gap of 20 units that we set for the padding at the bottom, and this can just go on infinitely, I believe. So let's check. And now this should start disappearing, as you can see, and this is always going to replicate no matter how many there are. And that's about it for today's video. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful and informative, and if you haven't understood something, let me know down below so I can help you out. As well, if you want to learn more about Unreal Engine 4, both its features and how to recreate mechanics, level design and game development in general, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. If you wish to support me and get the project files for this tutorial and many others, you can do that over on Patreon. That being said, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.